camera. Smile.
The older I get, the more I am just in awe of Bryant and how he's 78 years old and still running marathons, half marathons, and sometimes improving even still from year to year. It's amazing to me.
I think the St. George Marathon, the reason why it is on the map is because of runners like your father. Those runners who come back year after year are what makes St. George so special.
That's the first marathon I remember my dad doing. In 1980, I believe, Deseret News, and running it with my cousin Mark.
But I probably would not have done it if it wasn't for your dad, because I would not have done that by myself or alone or anything like that. So yeah, he was kind of the motivation or inspiration for me to do it.
I remember being jealous actually, because they had this thing in common that they were working towards, and it was a marathon.
I could be driving along and he could be running a mile ahead of me, and I would know it was him, just the way he runs.
One of the things that's really fun for me is when we go to the St. George Marathon is riding up on the buses with Bryant, and just having somebody to visit with, and just he's so inspiring in the amount of races that he's done and the number of times that he's done it.
Hey Pepe, I just want to let you know that I've really appreciated having you in my life, because you've always shown me how to be a man, and you've always had a really strong work ethic, and I've seen that in your running, and it's been a metaphor for my life, because it's always taught me how to work hard but also give back to people. And I just wanted to let you know I love you and Meme both, and I just really appreciate you.
I remember your mom was always a very good cheerleader at the races, and I remember that just from, even when I wasn't the runner, we would go, and I remember watching Bryant, and she would cheer on the runners, not just us, not just Bryant, but also the other runners. She would say, "Keep it up," but with her accent it sounded like "give it up."
But with her strong French accent. Moved here when she was 21 from France, and with that strong accent, it sounded like she was saying, "Give it up, give it up." So you're at mile 22 or whatever, you don't know this lady, and it sounds like she's yelling to you, "Give it up."
So she would say, "Give it up, give it up." But it was pretty cool to see that too.
Your dad, I'm sure, feels very lucky to have your mom by his side through all of this. And I'm sure she's very proud of him and all that he has accomplished, and I'm sure that she experiences that that feeling of accomplishment every time he crosses the finish line, because he couldn't do it without her.
Hey Pepe, thank you so much for everything you do. We really appreciate you, and your running has been such an inspiration to everyone around you, and it's a great example for us to look up to. Your perseverance throughout all these years has really strengthened us and has given us something that we can look up to and achieve. Meme, Pepe could not do this without you. We couldn't do this without you. You have been such a great supporter to Pepe, and you've always been encouraging us, and we love you so very much.
One of the things that is amazing is I know people influenced my dad to start running. A relative was a runner, a neighbor was a runner, and but because of my dad taking up running, it has impacted so many people in so many different ways. From a good friend of ours named Mitra, who's an incredible runner, really just took it up a few years ago. She's 56 years old, recently turned 56 years old, and just got a 3 hour and 15-minute marathon. That's phenomenal.
I don't think there are many long runs that I've gone on when I haven't finished and I'm walking back up the street when when I don't cry like I am now, because I'm so grateful. Because at 56 years old, it is a little bit of an accomplishment, it's a feat.
It's just amazing how many people are influenced because one person starts doing something and how it impacts a lot of people.
Hey Pepe, I just want to thank you for the amazing influence that you've had on my life and the life of my siblings and my parents. And one of the greatest memories I have with you was one morning, early in the morning, you and I ran to the St. George Temple, which was a little over a 10-mile run. Those moments that I spent with you, even though that was 10 miles of pain, it was a 10 miles that I will never, ever forget for the rest of my life. And so Meme and Pepe, we love you both so very dearly, and thank you again for everything.
Hi Pepe, I just want to tell you how much I love you and how much your running has inspired me to continue to do better in my own life with parenting my children and continue to improve myself work-wise and family-wise. And I just want to let you know how much I love you and Meme and how much you'll always be in my heart. I love you very much, Pepe.
I actually didn't know that Bryant was bald during all of our years growing up. So whatever he had really looked real because I had no idea.
I always saw him with his wig on. I never saw, and I was wondering how he gets all that hair underneath that little tiny hat when he's running.
I do remember though that he had a running wig that he would wear that was different than the one he wore on a regular basis. And it always puzzled me. I always thought, well, he's got curly hair. And when he would go running, he would have flat hair. And so, or kind of a flattened down hair. And I thought, wow, the wind must really be blowing or something, because when he comes back from runs, his hair is flat.
There's even times where he had a kidney stone and he would not miss running. He'd be in the hospital or just got released from the hospital, and against the doctor's orders, he would go put in a half mile or mile just not to miss a day. I don't recall how many days consecutively he's gone without missing a day, but I know it's several years where he didn't miss one day of running.
It is absolutely amazing to me that runners not only can run still when they are 78 years old, but run a marathon when they are 78 years old, approaching 79.
Hey Pepe, I just wanted to let you know first off that I love you and I appreciate everything you've done for us and the impact that you've had in not just my life but all of our lives. You know, showing that with consistency and hard work ethic, whether it be with your running, which is phenomenal what you've been able to accomplish with that, or your business and just life in general. It's shown us that we can accomplish really anything in our life with just, again, the consistency and hard work ethic, along with yours and Meme's marriage, and showing us that true happiness comes from that. I truly love you and Meme and everything you've done for us.
When my younger brother was battling cancer in Salt Lake, he lived in St. George but was in Salt Lake being treated. The St. George Marathon was coming, and it was a tradition that family would always come cheer Pepe on, or if I was involved with it, to cheer both of us on. And this one time Jeremy was in Salt Lake receiving chemotherapy, and I didn't think he was going to make it to the marathon. And as I turned the corner to go the last 2/10 of a mile or so just before the finish, all of a sudden I hear my name shouted out, and it's my brother. He had convinced the doctors to move up his treatment to the middle of the night, had a treatment, jumped in the car with his wife, after receiving chemotherapy, zoomed down to St. George and got to the finish line just before I finished. And when I got there, he shouted my name and even jumped in with me and for the little bit of strength he had, he ran for just a moment with me. It's a memory I'll never forget.
Hi Pepe, it's Scarlett. I just want to say that going to the marathon, like since before I can remember, has been the most amazing experience. To me, it was always so good to get the family together and kind of bring all of us together and seeing one another. It brought so much love and happiness into my life. It's something I look forward to every year. Seeing you and Robin running, you know, it made me want to do better. It made me want to maybe go out and run one day. I never have, but I still have that motivation to do those types of things. Thank you, both of you.
I admire that he's still running after all this time.
I don't know that I would even have a guess of how many runners like Bryant who have been running since the 80s who are still running the St. George Marathon, especially at the age of 78. He's in a very unique category, one that I think he should be very proud of and feel an extreme accomplishment for that. Maybe a handful of runners who are his age who have been running as long as he has here in St. George.
Hi Pepe, I just want to tell you how much I love you and what a great example you've been to us in persistence. And I love the fact that you go running every day, even if it's just around the block. I think it takes you longer to get dressed than to actually go on the run. But I love that persistence and love that all that you and Meme have done for us and the influence that you have been in our families. Love you.
Not bad for almost 79. I beat last year by 13 minutes. You beat last year by 13 minutes? Wow.
Just in 2017 alone, my dad at 78 years old ran the Southern Utah Half Marathon, ran the Spectrum 10K, I don't think they call it that anymore, ran that race in Snow Canyon, ran the Snow Canyon Half Marathon, did the Big Cottonwood Half Marathon, did the Little Cottonwood Half Marathon, and was in the St. George Marathon. At 78 years old, he ran all those events.
Really love that guy. Really love your mom too. She's fantastic.
It's runners like your dad who make me love my job. It is the people who run our race that make me come to work every day.
I want to say thanks, Bryant, for all the inspiration and good years of running that we've been able to do together, and especially for that first marathon at the Deseret News. It was great.
Bryant, thank you so much for the influence that you've had in my life and for your friendship and for your family and the friendships and the relationships that I have with them and with you and Claudine. It's very special and very treasured to me, and I love you.
Hi Pepe, I just want to tell you how much I love you and thank you so much for being such a great example to me. And I remember watching you running the marathon ever since I can remember, since I was little. And thank you so much for everything you've done for me and for always being a great listener. And I love you and Meme more than you'll ever know.
You know, something running has done for me, probably the biggest thing is opportunity to talk about running with my dad. To be able to go running with him